Welcome to the concourse at Minute Maid Park as fans get ready for the second game of this series between the Astros and the A's. The Astros try to even the series after losing to the A's last night. We get you ready for first pitch next on CSN.
With 30 games remaining, the Astros head to Game 2 of this three-game series with the first-place Oakland A's. Last night's game got away, but tonight it's up to staff ace Dallas Keuchel to propel the Stros back into the win column. Hi, everybody. Alan Ashby and Larry Dierker with you. Layla Rahimi will join us in just a little while. Dirk, good to have you back for a second game. And Brownie get back very soon, hopefully back tomorrow night. We're talking about Dallas Keuchel, who goes to the mound tonight, and Dallas has had a terrific season, no question about it. He leads the American League in complete games with 5. He has just steadily given the team solid starts one after another this year, Dirk.
He's done just exactly what you wish all your young pitchers would do, is settle into the league. At first, he was tentative. He got hit around a little bit his first year. Last year, he was hot and cold. This year, his control is so good, and he just owns that outside corner at the knees at different speeds to right-handed hitters, and that's the secret. That's Tom Glavine, that's Jimmy Key, that's Claude Osteen, that's any number of guys you can think of. Left-handed, low and away, a lot of ground ball outs.
He leads the major leagues easily in ground ball outs. He's also a very good defensive player, and all of that adds together for some much improved numbers now as we look through his 3 years in the big leagues.
Yeah, that 10-9, Alan, you know, that could be 15-9 easily had he been pitching for a team that scores a few more runs.
Coming up, Chris Carter has been a terror to the opposition since July 1st. Layla will have more on his late-game heroics.
Sportsnet is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Right now at Jack in the Box, try Jack's Spicy Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax, and by AT&T Uverse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK-AT&T, mobilizing your world. Hello from the field at Minute Maid Park. I am Layla Rahimi as we get you ready for the second game of this series between the A's and the Astros. And the Astros, again, were benefited by the bat of Chris Carter. Carter has 31 home runs this year and is showing no signs of stopping, especially given that tear he's been on since July 1st. But one thing you may not have noticed about Carter's home runs as of recently is how many of them are coming at clutch times. Carter's tear has been amazing to watch, but it's been even more fun to watch when they really count. He hit a walk-off against the Diamondbacks on June 12th and then continued his late-inning heroics when he took on the New York Yankees. This was August 19th. It was the game-winning home run for the Astros, and he had 4 strikeouts prior to that home run at that. Then last night in the 8th inning off of Jeff Samardzija, a 2-run shot that cut the deficit to 3-2 before the Astros ended up losing 8-2. But the difference is his maturity. Of Carter's 31 home runs, 20 of them have been in the first through 6th innings, and 11 of them have been after the 7th. Bo Porter said it's that demeanor he has and the maturity that he's growing with that is helping him get to this point as a hitter. Now, one of the fun shots last night was watching Carter go back to the dugout and his team visibly more excited than he was taking part in the celebration. I asked Bo Porter about Carter because we all know he's such a calm guy, and he said, oh, he celebrated, but it was in a Chris Carter way. Calm, and I guess we'll just have to see what happens next. Stay with us here from Minute Maid Park as we get you ready for Game 2 of this series. The Astros try to even the series with the A's. They will send Dallas Keuchel to the hill. We'll have Alan Ashby and Larry Durker on the call from Houston next.
Between the Astros and the Oakland A's, and the umpires down on the field there at home plate as the lineup cards are being exchanged. There, the Astros still hanging in the dugout, so we've got a little bit of time. The Oakland A's with a victory last night over the Astros, able to go back and tie the LA Angels, who lost last night, though those two ball clubs are leading in the American League West, tied with Seattle trailing, Houston, and then Texas following, and there are the standings. So it's become very interesting, Dirk, now as the Astros anyway are down to 30 games to play.
Well, I think, you have to have realistic goals, and one of them is just to stay ahead of the Rangers. And they're going to play the Rangers a lot, so they can control that by beating them. But, it's been a better season than last season. They're not last, but, this isn't what they want either.
What they want is to go out and provide as much of a difficult time for these ball clubs now that have a chance to get into the postseason as they possibly can. The Astros have done a good job of that. You know about the recent road trip going through Boston, New York, and Cleveland. The Astros went 5-5 on that trip. And now tonight, as the Astros have taken the field, Dallas Keuchel loosening it up as he'll face these Oakland A's tonight, and they're a very good bunch. That lineup for the Oakland A's this evening will feature Coco Crisp in the top spot. He's in center field. In right field, Craig Gentry runs very well. At third base, Josh Donaldson, who had a big night offensively last night. Middle three, Derek Norris. He is not catching tonight. He's the DH. In left field, veteran Johnny Gomes. Nate Fryman, former Astro, is at first base. In the bottom three, at second, Alberto Callaspo. Giovanni Soto is the catcher recently acquired by the A's. And at shortstop, Andy Perino. And on the mound is Dallas Keuchel, 10-9 on the year. And boy, was he good last time in sucking up loss number 9. That complete game number 5 on the year at New York against the Yankees.
He's been so consistent this year, and I know he's proud of that. Brent Strom, the pitching coach, is proud of that. It's not easy to do for 6 months, and he's still got a month left. But he's on a pace to go over 200 innings, which is tough to do in the days of the relief pitcher.
And as well as he's pitched recently, his last win coming back on the 30th of July. So still looking for that first win here in the month of August.
But the last day, or the second to last day of July, pitched against the A's, went the distance, and won that game 8-1 on a 4-hitter. They beat him 5 straight times.
And that was the 4th of the 5 complete games on the season for Dallas. So he's been really an all-star type pitcher all season long. Did not make the all-star team this year, but it really just came down to probably the Astros in last place at the time, and it's very difficult to get guys on the all-star team at that point. Dallas starts doing what he does, throwing a strike on the leadoff man, Coco Crisp.
But he's developing a reputation, and if he had the same year at all-star break next year, he might make the team.
And 0-2 the count on Coco Crisp. I think that's very likely. And if Dallas is able to maintain this pitching style that he's developed, utilizing that very good sinker for the ground balls, the changeup, the slider, he's really put it together.
Strike 1, strike 2 here.
He sinks it under the knees, gets the ground ball that kicks foul. Playing at third base tonight, and we'll get to all the guys, but it's Gregorio Petit getting a start. He's been really good since being acquired by the ball club. Back on Dallas Keuchel, 26 years of age.
He looks so comfortable out there, and that's just a matter of getting your innings in. 2 years ago, he looked a little edgy. He looked like he was a little afraid of big league hitters who get behind in the count a lot. He knows he's not a extreme hard thrower, so he knows he has to make pitches.
Just missing off the inside edge. You were the hard thrower. How long did it take you to get to where you felt like you belonged in the big leagues?
I felt like I belonged right away. I didn't feel like I was among the league's best pitchers, but I thought I could compete.
Would you not agree that that's probably on the rare side?
I would say so. I was, it was that the ignorance and confidence thing. I didn't really know any different, and I felt like I could do it, and the hitters made some outs. That's the thing. It's hard to teach a pitcher is that the hitters are going to make outs no matter what you do.
Percentages say the best hitters in the game will make outs. There's a diving effort by Jake Marisnick, who comes up shy. But this is what we're seeing from Jake Marisnick as one of the young players that looks like, at least for the time being, he's going to be one of the regular outfielders for this club.
He's an athlete. You could see how much ground he covers with those strides. And he got a lot closer to making that catch than I thought he could. In fact, I didn't even think he was going to try to lay out for it.
We've seen him lay out and make a number of plays already. In fact, laid out last night, knocked one down. Ooh, just missing his money.
That's the one you want right there.
So after getting ahead 0-2, it's now 3-2 on Coco Crisp.
Well, the A's make you throw a lot of pitches, and Keuchel is the type of pitcher that ordinarily doesn't throw a lot of pitches, so that will be part of the events of tonight to see who wins that battle.
When you watch Dallas Keuchel, and Some guys you see huge sinkers. With Dallas, it's a little bit subtle. What is it for you that creates so many ground balls for him?
Well, it's subtle is actually better, because if it's got a big tail, they can kind of track it. But I could never see Orel Hershiser's sinker on TV. It was that subtle.
And ball 4.
I'd just see fastballs and everybody hitting ground balls. I couldn't even see it move. So I can see Keuchel's sinker move a little bit, but not as much as some guys.
Defensively behind Dallas tonight in the outfield left to right, Robbie Grossman, Dexter Fowler, and Jake Marisnick. On the infield, the left side, Gregorio Petit and Marwin Gonzalez. On the right, it's Jose Altuve and John Singleton. Behind the dish once again, Jason Castro. So the leadoff man reaches. Crisp draws the walk. It brings up speedy Craig Gentry. He gets a start in right field against the left-hander this evening.
Chris is a base stealer, but I don't think he'll try it against Keuchel. He's just too quick to the plate.
Now, among the things that Dallas Keuchel does well is that nice little slide step. He completely commands the running game with that. He doesn't need to throw to first base a lot.
And Craig Biggio just stepped in here a few minutes ago and went back out, and he could tell you.
Here's a bunt on the first base side. Dallas, very good fielder, but comes up empty on this one. So that's going to put runners at first and second.
Walk and a bunt. So let's see what he's made of now, because he's got some tough hitters, RBI hitters to face. But Craig would tell you that if a guy's below 1.3 to the plate, there's no sense running, because a decent throw and you're out. And he's way below 1.3 to the plate.
So it's ruled a sacrifice for Gentry. He reaches.
It would have been hard to prevent that from being a hit. Gentry was out of the box quickly, and Singleton wasn't that close to the bag.
Singleton had broken from the bag. So reaching at first on the E1 is Gentry. First two hitters reach. It brings up Josh Donaldson, who had a big night last night. Donaldson hitting .252 overall. A guy who has driven in 87 for the Oakland A's. And back to the running game. Dallas has allowed just one stolen base in 4 meager tries over the course of the year. And that tells you right away that teams don't run. And when they do run, it likely would be on hit and run scenarios.
Well, you know, and you talked about his ability to get the ground ball. If you can throw ground balls and no one can steal against you, well, you're going to get a lot of double plays. And that's what he needs right now.
And Dallas has gotten a lot of double plays. He's induced at least one double play in each of his last 10 starts. Would love to add to that, make it 11 straight starts, get one right here. The 1-1. Just inside. Now Keuchel, coming into tonight, had retired the side in order in the first inning in each of his last 5 starts. That will not be the case this evening.
No, he could get out of it with a double play and another out and only face 4 batters.
Chopper to third. Petit will go to the bag, get one out and fire across, and blocked nicely by Singleton. Pretty heads up play at first base there as the Astros get an out. Donaldson reaches on the fielder's choice. Coco Crisp erased 5 unassisted.
And there was nothing. There was no double play in that ground ball. It just wasn't hit very much. So he gets the lead runner, which is nice. I guess he could have tried to throw to second or first, but take that lead runner, and if you get, you know, it wasn't even worth throwing the ball.
So 1 out. Cleanup man Derek Norris at the plate. He's hit in 4 straight.
But that was a big out to get, because he is definitely their best run-producing hitter.
You were talking last night about when you were trying to get ground balls, you turned to the sinker slider style, which was your style anyway. But
most of the time, you know, every once in a while, if I had a little giddy up on a 4-seamer, I would use that a lot. Those were games when I usually threw more pitches, struck out more guys, walked more guys. It was a different kind of game. But if you got that sinker slider going with a grass infield like this, you could pitch a low pitch game.
Ground ball to third. Petit will back and now get an out at second. That's all they'll get. A little bobble there in that exchange.
But he didn't panic.
But yeah, and you're right. And there really was no legitimate shot to get 2 on that either.
You know, one of the things that I heard way back when I was playing, I'm sure guys that pitched a long time before me heard the same thing, and it still applies now. And a good thing to tell pitchers when they're under duress, particularly guys like Peacock who have struggled, you go out there and you say, you know what, with all these bad pitches you've thrown and maybe bad calls and maybe bad feeling and all this big mess you're in, one pitch will get you out of all of it. One good pitch.
And it's been a bit of an odd inning, rather, for Dallas Keuchel, but a chance to get out, but it's not going to be taken advantage of as Johnny Gomes steps in, first pitch swinging, drills an RBI single to center field. 1-0 A's here in the first.
It's the first hit.
So that leadoff walk is what really cost. That leads to the bunt that puts a man on base on the E1. And that leadoff walk came after getting ahead 0-2.
And this pitch to Gomes is just right over the middle of the plate, and that's not always the worst thing. I think one of the reasons that Keuchel's been better is that he's not afraid to challenge over the strike zone, particularly early in the count, to get ahead. That time Gomes didn't let him.
For Johnny Gomes, just his 4th RBI as a member of the A's. And now it brings up Nate Fryman. He was with the Astros in spring training last year, 2013. Did a very nice job.
Been a big home run and RBI man in the minor leagues for them this year, and he's got good numbers and just a few at bats with them this year. But they see that high fastball right over the middle. He's probably thinking, boy, if he throws that again. But he probably won't throw that again.
Reminds me a bit of Frank Howard way back in the day when he first came to the big leagues. Fryman is 6'8". Howard, of course, became much larger in stature as the years went on. When he first came to the big leagues, kind of this look.
Oh, he was about 6'7", 270, a football player at Ohio State. Personally, I like to face tall hitters. But I felt like I had a lot more strike zone to work with. He gets down in a little crouch. He doesn't really present you that much.
Now Keuchel comes in on the 1-2 on the hands. And that's one of the things that really good pitchers will do. Not only will they try to work different areas, but on the hands is a big way to keep hitters off balance. You can't keep reaching out.
With his arms, he can do that. And with it crowding him again, the thing that you can do if you put the pitch in the right place, if it's coming in on a right-handed hitter and it gets right in under his hands, he can almost, like right there, he can't hit that pitch hard except hit it foul. If he hits it fair, he can't hit it hard.
And down on strikes is Fryman. So Keuchel gets through the first inning, allows a run to the A's, commits an error in the frame. It's 1-0 A's after a half. Oakland As we go to the bottom of the first inning, now look at the Astros lineup presented by Jack in the Box. For Bo Porter, it'll be Robbie Grossman in the top spot. He's in left. Second baseman Jose Altuve follows, and then the DH Chris Carter. Dexter Fowler in the 4 spot. Jason Castro does the catching, bats 5th. Batting 6th, shortstop Marwin Gonzalez. The bottom 3, John Singleton at 1st. Jake Marisnick in right, and at 3rd, Gregorio Petit.
And Jason Hamill over from the Cubs had a great first half. Prior to the All-Star break, he was very consistent, and he won a lot of games. 8-5 with the Cubs. 1-5 since coming over to the A's.
And the Astros have seen Hamill earlier in the season. The Astros had their way with the right-hander as he starts things with a strike. And again, that run by Oakland unearned against Keuchel in the first.
And he made the error. In my mind, there could be a variation in that rule where if the pitcher makes the error himself, it's an earned run.
Hamill 2-2 lifetime in 5 starts, 6 games overall against Houston. An ERA of 3.55. So on the whole, he's pitched well against the Astros.
The last time here at Minute Maid, though, they crushed him.
Over the 6 career games, 228 the Astros batting average against him. Ball hit hard to center field. To the gap in left center field to make the play is Coco Crisp, and out number 1. Defensively for the Oakland A's in the outfield, from left to right, Johnny Gomes, Coco Crisp, and Craig Gentry. On the infield, the left side, Josh Donaldson and Andy Perino. And the right side, Alberto Callaspo and Nate Fryman. And behind the plate, Giovanni Soto. Uh-oh. It's a long night, boys. Yeah, apparently still a ways till Christmas. Jose Altuve stands in. Has a 3-game hitting streak. It's been modest. That batting average, Major League best, 333. And now he's picked by Fryman, who feeds on to Hamill for the out. Nice play by Fryman at first.
Yeah, that was a great play. I thought that Altuve might beat it anyway, and he just wasn't able to. The pitcher got started right away. His timing was good, right in stride. It's amazing how the distances of baseball, 90 feet between bases and 60 feet 6 inches from the mound of the plate, have held up for so many years.
Now, if they had made it 100 feet between the bases, infielders would have played a little deeper, and probably when it's all said and done, it would have worked out the same. But obviously, the game works out very well.
Yeah, it works out real well. It would have been throwing would be difficult, though, if it was 100.
Yes.
If you move back 10 more feet and the bases were 10 more feet, I don't know if you could do that in some situations. I mean, it would be hard to do anything with slowly hit balls that get by the pitcher.
That's true. An appeal makes it 0-2 on Chris Carter. Carter had a big 2-run home run last night late in the ball game to make it a 3-2 Oakland lead. But the A's came bouncing back with 5 runs in the 9th inning. He eventually won it handily 8-2. That game you mentioned by Hamill here in Houston earlier in the season. The Astros won it 8-1 as they jumped all over Hamill. He worked his 4 1/3 in that one. But here catches Carter looking. Has a 1-2-3 first inning with the strikeout of Chris Carter. It's 1-0 A's after 1.
fan photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. It is brought to you by AT&T. Guys, you got any good photos to share?
No, but I don't think a guy yawning is going to win the contest.
I think Dirk's got some good photos, but I'm not sure we can use those right now.
There's a couple good ones in the press box,
Yeah.
as I recall.
Yeah. Dirk will put any of us to shame, that's for sure. As we work to the second inning, first pitch is grounded to shortstop. Gonzalez with the play.
That's the ground ball that you really want if you're a sinker ball pitcher, because that is the double play ground ball. Those choppers to third that they couldn't turn to on in the last inning cost them a run.
Now, you were talking last night, I found that kind of interesting, about the ground ball that's hit fairly sharply to the infield, how you wind up creating that versus the chopper.
And it's more just a reflection of how you pitch. It's not something you could necessarily create if you have a slider and a sinker. You know, I had a curveball. I didn't get it over that well, but it was decent. I just did not consider that a double play pitch at all.
So a guy like Colin McHugh, who has that over-the-top curveball, 12-6, that's tougher to get that nice firm ground ball to the infield.
I think it is, and also it's more likely they're going to pull it rather than hit it up short or second.
Strike is called. 1-2 the count on Giovanni Soto. 0 for his last 6. Soto getting the start behind the plate. Recently acquired from the Texas Rangers.
He's had some good years, but he's been hurt a lot this year.
He's played a lot against the Astros over his career. 61 previous games with a .279 mark.
One thing we can say that if he does hit another chopper, he won't beat it out.
Yeah, the speed is not a part of the game. Although he does have some power. 11 home runs career against Houston, 33 ribs.
Had a lot of those at Wrigley, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. And he's down on strike. Second strikeout now for Dallas Keuchel. 2 outs here in the second inning. It brings up the 9-hitter Andy Perino.
There's that changeup, and that really, if you want to talk about bread and butter for a left-handed starting pitcher, if you've got a sinking fastball that you can throw in the high 80s up toward 90, and a sinking, fading changeup like that comes in there about 80, they can't see the difference, and they're caught in between constantly. There's the sinker, and you really don't. Tom Glavine hardly ever threw a breaking ball. Everything was low and away, but everything was a different speed.
Fastball to change up and everything in between. Ground ball to Altuve, back up the middle. And a 1-2-3 nice and quick second inning for Dallas Keuchel. But the A's, with that run in the first, lead it.
A's 1-0 in the bottom of the second. So today is National Dog Day, and just for kicks, we are looking for your best and your cutest dog pictures. So please, tweet me at HoChenCSN. We did this earlier in the year when the Astros had a dog day at Minute Maid Park, and it was pretty popular. So we're doing it again. Like I said, tweet me at HoChenCSN. We're putting the best, cutest dogs on TV later on during the Astros game broadcast. Guys?
Oh, I love that one right there, Howard. Thanks a lot. Dirk wants to know if you got any Dodger dogs in there.
Dodger dogs were good ones. Some people came out to the game just for that.
Because
and they listened to Vince Scully while they're watching the game.
Oh, look at these.
Oh, that's charming.
Dexter Fowler leads off here in the second inning. He's the cleanup man for Houston. He'll be followed by Jason Castro and Marwin Gonzalez.
Had a nice year with the bat. Had a good on-base percentage, a little bit of power. Hasn't stolen as many bases as I thought he might.
I think that surprised a lot of folks. He hits a line shot, but at the left fielder Gomes for out number 1. It is not a fair game a lot of the time. With 1 out, it brings up Jason Castro. And Jason's been struggling. He's 0 for his last 16.
Well, every time you come up there, it could be the start of a streak, too. Every time you make it out, it could be the start of a slump. I like Yogi's idea about that.
What'd Yogi say?
I'm not in a slump. I'm just not hitting.
Yogi always saw things a little differently than others.
And he would say, too, you know, if I come out and take BP in the cage and I hit 2 or 3 balls hard, I just go back to the locker room. No sense wasting energy.
Ball hit off the hands and a diving grab by Fryman at first. So Fryman doing some diving around here early in the ball game. A couple of nice defensive plays. Out number 2 in the second.
Those are the kind of plays they make against you when you're 0 for 16.
That's exactly right.
They may have been able to get an out on that anyway because the second baseman, Velasco, was behind that play and could have thrown to the pitcher.
You'll never convince Jason Castro at that point.
No.
With 2 outs, it brings up Marwin Gonzalez. Marwin had a nice night with the bat last night. And he's got the batting average at .266. Marwin was 3 for 4, a pair of doubles in last night's game. Since he has taken over as the shortstop now, he has played very steady, consistent, solid shortstop.
Give you a little bit of offense, not a lot, but a little.
Well, as shortstops go, he gives you enough that you can run him out there every day.
If he had one more step of speed, he would be an everyday shortstop in this league.
He's made 1 error in his last 22 games. And if you're out on the mound, that's what you want. Here's another base hit. 4th in the series now for Marwin Gonzalez. Has a 2-out single in the second inning. It'll bring up John Singleton. And that's another aspect of the offensive game of Marwin Gonzalez. He'll use the entire field. Slices the ball around all over.
Almost any time a hitter is in a slump, the hitting coach will try to work with him on going the other way. I kind of know what the logic of that is, but you probably know it better.
It's just staying on the baseball, so you see the ball a little bit longer, and therefore, for me, what it does is enables you to hit the fastball, maybe back up the middle, maybe the other way, and then when you get the breaking ball, you actually see it and react, and you might drive it out to your pull side.
But prevent yourself from lunging.
Right, from lunging and or opening up early on that front side. Now, I've seen some guys like Jose Cruz who used to lunge, but the front side didn't open. So he was still with his hands back and able to hit.
How many hits did Craig Biggio get on breaking balls away where he chopped it in the hole in short, and he was practically running out of the batter's box when he hit the ball. He was so far out on his front foot.
Well, you bring up a guy who's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I could think of Ichiro would be another guy who would just have a load of hits on that type of a swing. And
the guy that used to drive me crazy, Matty Alou, was the same kind of guy.
Yep.
Biggio.
Yeah, that's intriguing to see that shot.
Yes, it is.
Big swing and a miss by John. And a 1-2 count. Singleton has done a lot production-wise for a guy who's hit just 187.
If you look at his average, you'd say there's no way he could have 41 RBIs and 36 runs scored in 250 at-bats. Those ratios are pretty good. You'd think a guy would be hitting 290, not 190, with those kind of production numbers.
And my only response is, well, he's had a grand slam. He's had some 3-run home runs. He's had big swings for the club. The swings have been seldom.
And there may be a compensating time when he's getting more hits but not as much production. Part of the evening out thing.
He's hit a couple of home runs over his last 10 games. But that 187 figure with a 296 on base percentage, clearly areas that John can improve upon as he's down on strikes. Second strikeout for Jason Hamill. Through 2 innings, 1-0 A's on top. Two, 1-0 A's on top. Now it's time for the Geico quote as we hear from former Houston manager Leo DeRocher. He said, "I never did say that you can't be a nice guy and win. I said that if I was playing third and my mother rounded third with the winning run, I'd trip her up."
Yeah. And I think he was telling the truth. He was a little past prime by the time he got to us. He kept saying, "Hickman, grab a bat." You needed a pinch hitter, but Hickman was still with the Cubs. We'd say, "Leo, Hickman's with the Cubs." Well, then get Ron up here. Ron was Norm Miller.
That's good. Those were different days, weren't they?
Yeah, a lot different.
Leo the Lip. You got some good stuff on Leo to go along with
a lot of card games going on in the clubhouse.
Yeah. Was he a part of them?
Oh, yeah.
So the manager would slip right in with the guys?
Yeah, and on the plane.
Ground ball back to the mound as the leadoff man, Coco Crisp, starts things in the third inning. Excuse me.
Yeah, how about that? He threw him about 12 pitches the first time up. He ended up getting a walk. He throws him 1 pitch this time.
With 1 out, it brings up the 2-hitter Craig Gentry. It was Gentry laying down a bunt back in the first inning. He got a sacrifice, but he also reached as Dallas Keuchel on that first base side tried to glove it and came up empty. He was charged with an error. Only error on the night.
But watching him go down the line, Gentry, I think he would have beaten that play anyway. And I understand now, as I looked at the numbers and wrote down 19 steals, 1 caught stealing. He's got that kind of speed.
He's been that kind of player that's hung around the major leagues because of his speed, because of his defensive abilities. And the A's utilize players that some other clubs may not utilize. They find a way to blend their talent.
They've really done a great job on that because they've typically had low payrolls and a lot of role players, and they seem to fit together a lot like the Walling and Garner tandem at third base. It just fits so well.
Yeah, that was a great pairing at third base the Astros had at one time.
And then, you know, picking up Davey Lopes late in the season.
Yep.
Bring him in to pinch run late in the game. You didn't have to bunt him over. He'd steal second. He could play outfield. He could play infield. Al Linier had all these options with how to put together a winning game.
Gentry hits it on the ground to Petit. Good strong throw to get the speedy Gentry. 2 down here in the third. Well, you had your share of managing and great success with the Astros. Did you have some combinations that just made it nice and easy for you?
I had you know, it was different because we were mostly a home run and steal team, which is odd. You know, usually you're a little ball team if you're a stealing team.
Ground ball back up the middle. Marwin to his left, throws on the run and got him. Josh Donaldson not speeding it down the line, but Dallas Keuchel gets 3 ground balls in a 1-2-3 third inning. 1-0 A's through 2.5.
Join us tomorrow for Social Media Night as the Astros take on the A's at 7:10. Tickets are $50 and include $15 of preloaded value to be used anywhere at the park. A seat for the game in the Bud Patio, and exclusive Social Media Night t-shirt with pregame guest appearances by Jeff Luhnow. You see him there, Colin McHugh, Steve Sparks, and Orbit. For tickets, visit astros.com/social media or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Guys, I asked Bo Porter at the beginning of this series about the importance of playing the spoiler when you know that the AL West is jam-packed with playoff contenders in Seattle, the A's, and also the Angels. And he said, first and foremost, you think about your team, but you owe it to baseball to try to not only play your best, but to play spoiler and be part of some of these crucial races.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Layla. And I think you owe it to yourselves as well as to baseball to grow in those chances to beat the good teams.
Absolutely. When you see the young guys that are cutting their teeth in this league right now for the Astros, it means something when you beat a really good team when they have to win, which is why I really like September for judging young talent better than spring training.
That's an intriguing comment because there are a lot of baseball people who will say don't judge talent in spring training or in September. And Jake Marisnick hits it on the ground to third. Nice play by Donaldson on that short hop on the backside. Out number 1 here in the 3rd inning.
If you don't judge it in spring training or in September, how do you ever bring a guy up?
Fair question. But I mean, you've heard that
yeah, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
Especially, if a guy has a really big year at AAA the year before, and you bring him to spring training and he gets 30 at-bats and he doesn't hit, I'd throw those 30 at-bats away and go on what he did for a full minor league season at a top minor league level rather than what he did against some major leaguers in spring training.
Gregorio Petit, the 9-hitter, tries to bunt his way aboard. What about the guy that has the marginal season the year before, comes into spring training, gets an opportunity, and does very well?
I've seen a few of those guys take off and really go. Dave Smith was one of them. If you need a guy at that particular position, it's worth taking a chance. I've also seen guys tear it up in spring training, make the team, and go 0 for April.
Yeah, it happens. Hit by the pitch is Gregorio Petit. He reaches with 1 out. On that
back hip pointer there. Easy for me to say, right?
And well, it should be. That running fastball. Were you a pitcher who hit a lot of hitters by trying to pitch inside?
Not that many. I tried to pitch inside. I tried to pitch. My spot that I tried to aim for was halfway between where the guy was standing and where the inside corner was, somewhere around the waist, so he could get out of the way of it. But he knew that I would be coming in there occasionally.
Leadoff man Robbie Grossman at the plate.
I think I averaged about 5 hit batters per 200 innings. And that was about what the major league average was. I looked all this up one time to see just how tough Bob Gibson and Don Drysdale were. And even they didn't hit as many batters as you would think.
Well, I was about to say that. Don Drysdale was a guy, along with Gibson, who had that reputation. I think Stan Williams was another one. Had the reputation of being really tough, mean on the hill, come after hitters. Did they really, were they really that mean, or is it just legend that has somehow lived to today?
I was like 1 hit batter for 45 innings, and Gibson was like 1 for 37, and Drysdale was 1 for 25. So even 1 hitter for 25 innings doesn't seem like you're really a headhunter.
So was Drysdale mean, or was he wild on that side of the plate?
No, he did that on purpose. It was, he meant to intimidate. Didn't work too well with Willie McCovey.
Yeah, Willie McCovey had a lifetime terror against Don Drysdale.
Man.
In terms of hit batsmen this year, Scott Feldman, a guy that might surprise you, is among the top 5 in terms of hitting batters. He's hit 10 this year.
Well, a lot of it has to do with how the hitter plans to attack you. And he pitches low and away a lot, and a lot of guys are probably kind of leaning in.
He's also a guy that has thrown a ton of breaking balls, and that can lead to a lot of that. Fly ball down the left side. Grossman is out as he flies to left field. Second out here in the 3rd inning. It'll bring up Jose Altuve. It's always been intriguing, and we'll get to that a little bit more. Time to reap the rewards of a home field advantage presented by Coldwell Banker as we look at Jose Altuve. He entered tonight hitting .344 at home, 3rd best in the major league. So Jose Altuve has certainly enjoyed life, at least with a bat in his hand here at Minute Maid Park.
If he keeps this up, he's going to own the Coldwell Bank.
Well, he's heading in that direction right about now, yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, the Astros are going to have to spend money to finish the job on rebuilding. And I think Jim Crane has already said that he's willing to spend the money when we get close enough to be a contending team. That's why I was glad that they seem to be working their way towards a deal where everyone can watch the games on TV, because that will make a big impact on revenue. And obviously, when you don't draw big crowds, you don't have as much revenue. If you don't have your TV signal going as far and to as many people as it could, you're losing revenue. And yet you have to have revenue to finish the rebuilding.
Altuve slices one down the right field side, dropping. It'll drop inside the line, and possible extra bases. And yes, it kicks up and into the seats, ground rule double. That is not a break for the Astros. As
no, that is not a break.
Stopped at third is Gregorio Petit.
I suppose we get to look at that again, but from where we're sitting, we really couldn't see how that ball bounced up against that wall and whether it touched the glove, because if the outfielder touched it before it went in the seats, I don't think it should be a ground rule double. See, that's where they disappear, though. Well, maybe we'll see it this time. Okay, ground rule double, no question.
So Altuve comes up with the double here, 2 outs in the third inning.
34 doubles on the year now.
He just continues to mount some numbers that are so impressive. And again, he leads the major leagues in batting. He started the day at .333, second best in the American League and in the big leagues for that matter. Victor Martinez of the Tigers, who has had 3 hits in each of his last 2 games, he's up to .328. Robinson Cano right behind him. So there's a good race going on as Carter fouls it back.
If I'm Carter in this at bat, not that I was a good hitter, but I've observed what happens in a lot of at bats over the years. I've got to be looking the other way. There's only one infielder over there, and he's playing halfway between and shallow. Usually when guys hit it the other way, they hit line drives and fly balls. And right here, if you hit a line drive or a fly ball the other way, you're going to drive in a couple of guys, at least one.
Carter slammed his 31st home run last night opposite field. With that double, Altuve now has 180 hits to lead the league. And that gives him a 15-hit margin over Melky Cabrera. Carter takes a strike.
Oh, boy, that would have been one to hit.
That's your hanger right there.
A lot of hitters give up on it. That's one thing that I've learned since I finished pitching is that that pitch can be effective.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people say about umpires that question mark about should they call the upper strike as the pitch is rocked to left field, and a great diving play by Gomes. Carter and the Astros absolutely robbed on this play, and that'll do it for Houston in the third inning. It ends on a gem with the leather.
Well, they've had
And Friday's fireworks come out to Minute Maid Park this Friday when the Astros take on the Rangers at 7:10. 10,000 fans will receive a Lone Star Series t-shirt presented by Houston Methodist, and the game will be followed by spectacular fireworks presented by Marathon Oil. Visit Astros.com for more details.
There's so many great things going out here at Minute Maid. The ballpark in itself is one of the best in all of baseball, and then with fireworks, the ability to do that, open the roof, close the roof when it rains, it's great.
Derek Norris, the 4-hitter, leads it off, followed by Johnny Gomes, who just made that spectacular play in left field. And then Nate Fryman, who's made a couple of gems himself tonight. Chris Carter could not have hit that baseball harder as he made the final out of the third.
Could have hit it higher, but he couldn't have hit it harder.
Yeah, that's the one you want to get under just a bit.
Did you ever think about playing most of your career here in Houston, the fact that 81 games you'd never have a rain out or delay, you'd never be really hot in the middle of the summer or really cold in April or September?
I did. I thought about the aspect of the no rainouts. It was really nice to come to the ballpark every day and not worry about being rained out, despite what it looked like on your drive in. You get out on the road and you have those mornings, you wake up, you see the rain or you hear about the forecast, and you start anticipating right away. Well, tonight's game, maybe we're going to play, maybe we're not going to play.
And they're always trying to get it in. How long do you have to wait? The tarp comes on and off. You go in and play cards. You come back out, play an inning or two. It starts raining again. Usually that happens on getaway day, and you get out of town at about 3 in the morning.
Which is grounded foul outside the bag. Well, it's part of that season-long routine that feels like a couple of marathons thrown together.
If I were a Houston GM or scout or anybody that was involved in trying to procure free agents, I would make sure that that was a big part of the sales pitch.
Well, you know, there's another really nice aspect here, and that is, in my opinion, as the pitch is down and in, you've got Nolan Ryan and Craig Biggio and Roger Clemens and Larry Dierker involved in the ball club, and I think that's a big sell item, at least from my perspective.
And it takes, you know, we're coming up on our 50th year of the Astrodome. We've already passed the 50th year of the franchise. That's what comes with being around for a while.
Yeah, I think when you talk Yankees, for example, it's really easy to think of all the big names that have played there, as the strikeout is number 3 for Dallas Keuchel. 1 out here in the 4th inning. It brings up Johnny Gomes. But I think the Astros have a very formidable list that we just mentioned right there that they can sell to other players.
And if you're trying to sell it to a hitter, you could say you've got a hitter-friendly ballpark. To a pitcher, you could say we're going to score a lot of runs for you.
Well, and you can say if you've got a way to keep the ball from gap to gap, it's a very pitcher-friendly park in that regard.
Yeah, you can manage it. Look at the years Roy Oswalt put together here.
So when you size up this ballpark overall and you managed here, who did it favor? One side or the other?
It's the same answer to any ballpark at any question. Favored the team that had better players.
Yeah, there you go. Johnny Gomes loops one into right center field.
It doesn't really matter if you're a power hitter, a speed guy, a power pitcher, a finesse pitcher, whatever you are. If you're good at what you do, you can succeed in any ballpark.
Well, you had some pretty good clubs here. You had the kind of pitching you needed, but you mentioned it earlier. You had some great home run hitting teams that ran well, and sometimes it had.
Well, we weren't too good at running. We weren't too good on hit and run. We didn't play little ball well, but we won a lot of lopsided games throughout the season. But when we faced the playoff level pitching, they stopped us.
Johnny Gomes has the only 2 hits of the night for the A's.
Kind of hard to do the couple of walks and a 3-run homer if they don't walk anybody and they keep throwing sinking pitches low and away.
Well, what you just said is that really good pitching can and likely does shut down very good hitting when it comes to those big games.
Most of the time.
So as you develop a club that you want to see get through the season, that long season, and win and get into the postseason, do you want to be loaded up on that front end of the starting pitching side more so than having the big time lineup?
I think so. You know, there's obvious examples of hitting teams winning postseason series and pitching teams winning postseason series. But one thing that I I noticed when I was broadcasting before for about 20 years is that almost every year the teams in the playoffs were among the top 3 teams in TBRA. But it related more.
Ball hit down the left field side. This is in the corner. One hop up against the wall. Robbie Grossman retrieves, but now being waved home is Johnny Gomes. Here comes the relay to the plate offline, and everybody's safe as moving into third is Nate Fryman. It'll be an RBI double. And moving into third is Fryman on the fielder's choice. So it's 2-0 Oakland here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, that's where we were hoping Carter's ball would go. It's a similar type of contact. That one, he's way out on the front foot and just kind of dragged the ball through the zone. But as you mentioned, at 6'8" with those long arms, he still hit it pretty hard.
Nate Fryman hasn't had a lot of playing time with the Oakland A's this year. Double number 5 and RBI number 12. And the infield draws in for Houston. 1 out. 7-hitter Alberto Callaspo at the plate. He grounded out to shortstop as he led off the 2nd inning. Keuchel will work from the stretch.
This is one thing that I've always wondered about. I have to ask him sometime. A lot of left-handed pitchers work from the stretch with a man on third. And I can't understand why. You can't see him that well. If you stand facing the hitter and go into your delivery, you can look over at the guy on third and throw it there if you want to.
We just had a big time play by one of the fans down the right side. Yeah. Gentleman in the Houston cap, the dark one. We've got a defensive signing getting ready to happen.
Got good hands. He doesn't have much range.
2-1 the count. Well, you know, you were talking about pitching versus offense. And if you look to last year, it's not the same year to year. Let's put it that way. The Boston Red Sox led the American League in runs scored. They led in numerous offensive categories, including team batting average. They won the World Series. They had a so-so pitching staff as the pitch is just outside. This year, their offense has turned the other way. They're dead last in runs per game. And their pitching is so-so once again. But they have completely fallen in having that happen.
All the way to last place. The Pirates of the late 70s, early 80s were a team that was hitting oriented.
Ground ball to short. And Marwin will check the runner and get the out.
And they had some success in postseason, being mostly a slugging team. Big Red Machine was known more for their hitting, but their pitching actually was pretty good because they had such a great bullpen.
That's a key second out with that infield drawn in. Second time
it is.
Callaspo has grounded out to shortstop, and now the catcher Giovanni Soto comes to the plate. So bottom line, it's about scoring more than the opposition on a consistent basis.
The one thing that I think having a really good starting rotation does for a team collectively is bring confidence.
Keuchel continues from the stretch.
If your starting pitching is a little shaky, when the team runs out on the field before the first inning starts, a lot of the guys have to be wondering, how many runs do we have to score tonight? If you're with the Atlanta Braves through those years of Smoltz, Maddox, Glavine, and good closers, if you run out on the field against Randy Johnson or anybody on the other team, you still think you can beat them. If you don't have the pitching and you go up against a guy like that, you just figure you can't score enough runs to win. So I think, it's intangible. It's a confidence factor.
1-2 just inside. Dallas has had a almost impossible time getting a call on the inside edge so far this evening. Home plate umpire is Mike Estabrook. Around the infield, first to third, Paul Emmel, Toby Basner, and Mike DeMuro. And now a 3-2 count.
Another good pitch.
Yeah, I can't say that Dallas has gotten many favorable calls this evening.
No, that was off the corner, but it was sinking. He could have swung at it. He's got a few strikeouts tonight, and most of them with that same pitch. The guys have swung at it.
And ball 4. So Dallas got ahead 1-2, couldn't be able to put him away, and now Andy Perino comes to the plate. That's the second walk issued by Dallas.
Perino hasn't been much of a hitter, so that may have been a semi-intentional walk. I don't think you'll have to worry about Soto's stealing second base.
Well, I think Dallas Keuchel has been this good this year that when he tries to throw strikes, he's not shooting for the heart of the plate. He's working at corners and
even behind the count.
That's right. And that's been one of the things that has set him apart as he continues to try to work that outside edge.
He's so in control with his delivery that there's no way that he could walk 4 guys in a row like Tony Sipp did last night. He just too zeroed in.
Ground ball back toward the bag at second. Altuve will backhand, go to the bag himself, and that'll do it. But the A's get a run in the 4th inning on a couple of hits and a walk as they leave a pair. 2-0 A's through 3.5. That is brought to you by Slotomania. Play Slotomania and escape anywhere. Text GAME to 555-888 or download for free in your local app store.
Where would you like to escape to?
Well, I'm not really sure. I hadn't considered it, but
you'll have to wait till October.
You know what? Come October, there's going to be a little escape, I think, off to Florida, play a little golf, spend some time with my bride, and catch up with some kids. How about you? You have an escape?
Yeah, we'll move around somewhere. I'm not sure where we're going, but knowing what it was like doing the 162 like you're doing, and back when we were playing, October, you really want to make up for the grind. And not that anybody's complaining when you have that long off season, but I found sometimes that after the season was over, I was still wound up a week later. It took me a week or so to just unwind.
Dexter Fowler leads off here in the 4th inning. Has a 1-1 count. When did you have your toughest time, as a player or as a manager, or a broadcaster for that matter?
Manager, I think.
You got more tied into the whole thing?
Yeah, you get. You can't play. You know, it's frustrating that you can only make decisions, but you can't.
Pitch is hammered to right field. Dexter Fowler has launched one. So Dexter Fowler gets the Astros on the board here in the 4th inning. His 8th long ball of the year, RBI number 28 for Dexter. It's 2-1 A's.
That was a no-doubter. He doesn't really have the muscle-bound body you expect of a home run hitter, but there's a lot of whip in that frame.
And that whip launched one right here. So nobody out here in the 4th inning. Astros get on the board. Jason Castro 0 for his last 17 now. And it took a gem by Fryman at first base to get him in the 2nd inning. By the way, for Dallas Keuchel tonight, 68 pitches thrown. The A's have only offered on 28 of those 68.
Oh, even facing a guy that mostly throws strikes, they still try to work the count.
There have been games when the Astros pitching has simply thrown strikes, and they've come out of that ploy at some point. But yeah, that's their game plan going in, no question.
And Dallas hasn't really been getting ahead of the count with the first pitch strike as often as he normally does.
And I would say Dallas has been close, but not quite in the strike zone much of the night. Well, that may be his plan as well. Fly ball left center field. Crisp is there. Out number 1 in the 4th. And to bring up Marwin Gonzalez, who had a base hit down the left field side in the 2nd. So the Astros play a little long ball. In terms of home runs, they have had their way.
But they're better than average in a lot of categories.
Marwin now with 4 hits in the series, hitting .269 on the year. Does have some pop, 6 home runs. Jason Hamill. Again, a guy who hasn't had a great deal of success, certainly in the green and gold of the Oakland A's. For the Astros, yeah, a little bit of a moment here. Marwin takes a strike. 1-2 the count. Well, maybe the Astros hitter is trying to apply that game plan of the Oakland A's. But Jason Hamill has been pumping strikes. He's only thrown 47 pitches now, 1 out in the 4th inning. Breaking ball grounded up the middle, but right there is Perino, the shortstop. Out number 2 in the 4th. That'll bring up John Singleton. Big John struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. Hamill has struck out a pair on the night.
Got the big shift on him again. A lot of room in left center. In this situation with nobody on and 2 outs, they don't mind if he gets a single to left.
Jake Marisnick waits on deck. Well, I often wonder if they're going to give you the hit, and what the A's do with their man on the infield on the left side, in this case Donaldson. Donaldson fluctuates. He'll start back as he is right now and then move in toward the infield grass as the pitch is being delivered. And in doing so, at least applying a little pressure on the hitter that says, well, don't try to lay down a bunt because I'll make that play on you. So he forces the hitter to swing. And for me, that's a very good ploy when you're going to put this kind of shift on.
The hitter's bound to notice it. You know, it started maybe 15, 20 years ago where some managers would have the infield play back and then charge in. All the infielders, as if they were going to play back and let you hit a ground ball, get an RBI, and then the hitter would have some doubt in his mind. I think you'd have to change your mind if you were standing there thinking you could hit a ground ball to short and drive in a run, and all of a sudden the shortstop's charging in.
I'm not sure that inside corner exists here this evening. That pitch was close. 3-1 the count. By the way, that home run by Fowler, number 145 for the Astros this year. That's 2nd best in the American League, trailing only the Baltimore Orioles as Singleton draws the walk. First walk issued by Hamill.
But the Astros are probably where they would have projected to be offensively. They're Certainly not near the top in offense, but they're somewhere in the middle. It's not been too bad. The starting rotation has improved a lot since last year. The bullpen has been a problem, been pretty inconsistent, but they've lost a couple of guys for the season that they counted on to make the bullpen better, so there is an explanation.
And again, the Astros second best in home runs, but they are 12th in the league in runs per game, just under the 4 per game mark as Marisnick swings through the heat. The Oakland A's are the leader in runs per game in the American League, but they're shy of 5 runs a game. They're at 4.8, followed by Detroit and the Angels and Toronto. Minnesota has made a run here in recent times. But at the bottom of the heap, the Boston Red Sox, again that team that led the league in runs last year.
Keep mentioning all these American League teams, and in my mind when you keep saying the league and I keep thinking we're in the National League, I can't get the American League in my head.
It's hard to make that transfer, isn't it?
It has been for me.
Now here's the deal, and one of the reasons why the Astros home runs are not equating to as many runs as you might think. They're last in the league in batting average, 240 as a club.
Got a few guys that have done a good job drawing walks, but they're not necessarily a team like the A's that has a high on base average for the whole lineup.
In terms of OPS, the Astros are 11th in the league, but the Oakland A's are only 5th. So what the A's have done is a little hard to put your finger on offensively. Why they lead the league in terms of runs per game, being 5th in OPS, that most important of all offensive categories.
And they're not a base stealing team.
That's right.
They've been very successful. They've been about 80% successful, but they don't run very often.
A's are right in the middle of the pack with 71 stolen bases, whereas the Astros have 89 as a club.
You look at a lot of things. The Astros have made 82 errors. The A's have made 86. The Astros have turned 122 double plays. The A's have turned 123. So in many categories, they're pretty much even with them.
The A's are second in on-base percentage. The Astros are 14th, so they're on the opposite ends of the spectrum.
That's a big one.
Little chopper up the first base side, rolls foul. But the Detroit Tigers lead in on-base percentage, and the Tigers have had a miserable time recently.
Who would have imagined that their pitching could struggle the way it has this year?
Very hard to figure on the Tigers. When on paper you look at their starting rotation, you figure there's just no way they're going to lose 60 games over the course of the year.
And there haven't been very many pitchers in baseball on any team that have put together 10 good seasons in a row. You know, 250 innings and 17 to 20 wins. You know, there's no, I can't think of any really dominant pitcher that's been that way year after year. Verlander was that way. He's not anymore.
About 4 years. Yeah, and so it's not as long of a span as you think that he dominated the league. Or as
now Kershaw has been going the last few years. Will he be the guy that puts together 10 in a row?
Or is that even feasible in today's world?
I don't know.
The Seattle Mariners lead the American League in team ERA. They're the only club under the 3 mark.
And they might make the playoffs.
They might. They might. They're not a great offensive club, that is for certain. But they have pitched extremely well. The Oakland A's are second best. The Astros find themselves 12th in that category. Overall team pitching staff ERA. They've been reasonable on the starting side. On the bullpen side, they've had their struggles and are last in ERA. Marisnick swings through it. That'll do it. Third strikeout on the night for Jason Hamill as he gets through the fourth inning, but the Astros get on the board on the solo home run by Dexter Fowler. It's 2-1 A's. Dexter Fowler has launched one.
Leading the Astros 2-1, and the Astros and Houston area Chevy dealers are providing 500 tickets to active duty U.S. military and veterans for Military Night this Saturday, August 30th. Valid military ID required. Tickets available while supplies last. Nice moment during the game. A father and son who both served, receiving a large round of applause from the crowd. Duly noted. We thank you for your service. Larry Ash.
Thanks, Layla. We go to the fifth inning. 2-1 A's on top. A's have picked up an unearned run this evening. The Astros' lone run coming on the solo home run by Dexter Fowler, his 8th on the year. As the first pitch from Dallas Keuchel, ground ball to the right side. Coco Crisp is out. And Dallas Keuchel could use some nice quick outs. .69 pitches now for Dallas. One out here in the fifth inning. Greg Gentry comes to the plate. Third baseman Petit draws in. Dirk, have you at all considered the MVP race in the National or in the American League to this point?
Not really.
And it's a tough one really to evaluate.
We talked a little bit last night about the fact that there's nobody having that monster year like Cabrera last year, and no pitcher having that kind of year that Fernando had, or Doc Gooden, and some of the years Nolan had, Roger. There's nobody having that kind of year off the mound.
You mean when Nolan would get bypassed in the Cy Young voting?
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you know what? He had about 4 years. When I was doing the second book, I looked at who won it I said, how could anyone win the Cy Young with a better year than this? When I looked at Nolan's number, every year there was somebody. It was Jim Palmer, or maybe Gaylord Perry, or somebody. Every year there was a guy that you could say, yeah, he had a better year.
There's that effort for the inside corner, and again, that corner has been elusive this evening.
It's hard to call balls and strikes from behind the catcher. I don't think there's really any way you can see the whole strike zone. You're blocked away from part of it no matter where you stand.
I've never been in favor of the inside corner umpires. That's what everybody does now. Boy, getting down the line was Gentry as he's out on a close play. Marlon Gonzalez continues to play very steady shortstop. 2 outs in the fifth. It's 11 ground ball outs already recorded by Dallas Keuchel.
Kind of nice when you get to Donaldson to have nobody on base and 2 outs. I wouldn't really throw him a strike in this situation. On the other hand, he may be thinking, this guy won't throw me a strike in this situation, and you might be able to kind of do some reverse thinking on him.
Robbie Grossman in left being moved much toward the line now. And there's that big hack. Donaldson, I think, is one of those guess hitters, and I think a lot of the time it's fastball. He'll just take his biggest hack.
And he's struck out over 100 times. He's certainly not the perfect hitter, but he's done an awful lot of damage.
A lot of people have pointed to Donaldson as a possible MVP candidate this year.
Well, he's got 87 RBIs, could end up with 110 or 20. That would put you in the running. Scored 79 runs. He could score 100. Probably have one of the lower batting averages of any MVP guy.
Helps himself here with a base hit into left field. 2-out single brings up the cleanup man, Derek Norris. For Donaldson, his first hit on the night.
See the Castro set up low and away, and Dallas didn't quite get it down there or out there.
Norris 0 for 2 on his night. He's had a solid year. This is the guy that does the bulk of the catching for the A's, hitting .280, 10 home runs. Hot shot back up the middle. Backhanding Altuve, throws on a hop and dug out and then dropped, bobbled by Singleton. So Norris is safe.
I think you would have had him.
Oh, they had him. And I think Altuve threw this on a hop intentionally. It was one of those longish hops that I thought was going to be easy for Singleton to handle.
He should have handled it.
Yeah.
And it was in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Altuve made a nice play. And I don't think there was anything fluky about the bounce throw. Used to see a lot of that on the AstroTurf.
No. That's got to be E3, doesn't it?
For me, that's E3. But they have ruled an error on No. It is an E3.
You don't see it very often where a guy doesn't catch a ball on a hop and gets an error. But in that case, I think it was warranted.
Johnny Gomes 2 for 2 stands in. So the A's mounting a little threat here with a couple of outs in the 5th inning. Yeah, you get these shift scenarios, and it creates opportunities in the infield that are not normal for guys.
That's true. You never would ordinarily see a second baseman all the way up the middle like that to even make a play on that last ball that was hit. But
where you might normally see the shortstop going for that ball, second baseman going to the bag at second. But it's all part and parcel of trying to take hits away, and it's the gamble that most teams will play.
Most teams are doing it, and scoring is down. So it's hard to argue with that.
Ground ball hit right to Altuve. He'll go on to first base, and that'll do it for the A's in the 5th. They get a hit, they leave a pair. It's 2-1. A's lead it. matchup presented by Chevron. Care for your car. It'll be Brad Peacock going for the Astros, 3-8. After pitching well but having to come out of the game his last start. A little bit of a sore forearm, 5.30 the ERA against Drew Pomeranz, who's pitched well for the A's, 5-4 with a nice ERA at 2.91. So it should be a good one here at Minute Maid Park. 9-1-2 for Houston here in the fifth. Gregorio Petit leads it off, hits one right off the end of the bat to Fryman. He'll go to the bag. One pitch, one out in the fifth inning. I'll bring up Robbie Grossman, who's 0 for 2, a couple of flyouts tonight. The Oakland A's, by the way, are 4-7 in 11 games since the All-Star break, in which they faced a left-handed starter, and of course with Keuchel on the mound tonight, the lefty. That number on the line. Grossman shows bunt and takes the ball.
Robbie's been very patient. Has a really good walk ratio, 44 walks and 259 at bats, but he's also struck out a lot.
And a lot of those strikeouts looking as he just takes a lot of pitches. Hits one in the air, right center field, fairly deep. Back on the track to make the play is Gentry, and 2 outs in the fifth. Now to bring up Altuve. He has doubled in 2 at bats. He was robbed back in the first inning by Fryman, the first baseman. I don't think Robbie quite got this on the sweet spot.
Now he's got enough power to hit it out in that direction.
How do you see Robbie long term for the Astros?
I don't really know. He's kind of a tweener because he's got good speed, but not this blazing speed. So he's probably not a big base stealer. He's got some intriguing power in terms of probably what you might call mid-range power, mostly doubles. But he can steal a base occasionally. I think he fits. I'm just not sure where he fits in the lineup.
You see Altuve with a good swing, fouls it back. With that 1 for 2 night, hitting .334. He's been the man that everybody's been gunning at now for a good long while.
There's that pitch that looks like something you could just tee off on, but the hitters usually give up on it.
Catcher set up away, and that breaking ball.
There's an inside call for you. That might not have come back all the way to the strike zone.
One of the few inside corners called all night. Ground ball to the right side. Not sharply hit. Callaspo makes the play as Altuve is erased to 1-2-3 fifth inning. 6 pitches for Hamill in that frame. TV celebrates its 12th anniversary. Get MLB.TV today for only $12 for the remainder of the season. Watch every out-of-market game streamed live online or On the go, MLB.tv Premium includes a free At-Bat 14 subscription, allowing you to watch live baseball on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. He's got it right there.
Yeah, probably watching another game.
Well, you can do it today. And you can watch anything you want to watch. Nate Fryman leads off. 6-hitter pops one in the air. Right field as Marisnick sizes it up and makes the play out number 1. And we check in with Layla.
It is time for the Progressive Fan of the Game. And do you recognize this? This is the ball caught off of Alberto Callaspo's laser in the 4th inning by this man, Chris from Fredericksburg. You brought the glove for a reason. Take me through the play.
Yeah, it was slicing away, so I had to lean out, and I just snagged that sucker.
You make it sound easy, but you move pretty quick, and you got a huge fan reaction. What did you think of the crowd reaction?
It was pretty cool. It was loud. It scared me, really. It was cool.
It takes a lot of reaction and reflexes to be able to move that fast and snag that. There's a lot of major leaguers who wouldn't do that. You know the Astros have a tryout in Corpus Christi every year.
I might be there.
Chris, we expect you to be there. This is the proof. He got it done. Chris from Fredericksburg and his crew, easily the fans of the game tonight.
Astros.
Yeah, nice going, Layla and Chris.
He looks more like one of the old-time umpires.
Yeah, he does. Stay alive down there. You
used
might
to
get
have
another.
a lot of really heavy-set umpires,
yeah.
and you don't see too many anymore.
I'm not sure if the league put pressure on the guys to maybe get in better shape, but and you do see a lot of the guys that look like they're in pretty darn good shape now.
The umpires have a good gig these days. They make a lot of money. They get vacation time. A lot better than it was in our day in terms of the conditions that an umpire faces.
Second fly ball handled in the inning by Marisnick. 2 outs. Let's see if Dallas Keuchel can get through this now before some 2-out problems.
Yeah, the nice thing about this in the American League is that he's pitching a competitive game. You're only down by 1. You don't have to take him out of the game. If he was hitting at the end of the lineup, there would come a time when you'd have to take a chance on another pitcher because you'd have to try to catch up.
Well, remember that last start now for Dallas Keuchel at New York against the Yankees. He went 8 innings. It was a complete game as the Astros lost that ball game. 8 innings, 7-hit ball, allowed 3 runs, and he pitched so well that day. And that was the 2-hour and 7-minute game. But he went up against Brandon McCarthy, who was just a notch better.
A notch is enough.
That's all it took on that afternoon. Dallas needed 96 pitches for that complete game. Brandon McCarthy was the sharpest I've ever seen him as he won his 8th against 12 losses. Hot shot, and it gets by Marwin into left center field. Giovanni Soto has a 2-out single. So again, with 2 outs, problems begin for Dallas Keuchel.
Still just the 5th hit. 4 singles and a double. They've hit a few balls hard, but he's pitched a really good ball game again.
Brings up the 9-hitter Andy Perino. He's the shortstop with all the injuries that these Oakland A's have been dealing with. And they've had some pretty tough injuries here recently. We talked last night about Sean Doolittle, their closer, who's been placed on the DL. And he was a lockdown closer for the A's. John Jaso, concussion. He's on the 7-day concussion list right now. Jed Lowry, their shortstop. Griffin and Parker from the pitching staff. They've had a load.
Well, they've shown that they have depth. You know, that's the last thing I think you do when you try to rebuild a team into a contender is the bench. Where is what your depth chart at each position? Do you have a guy on the bench that can play every day at short, or do you have a guy at AAA that can play every day who's just about ready? You try to cover every position so that if somebody gets into a season-ending injury situation, you have somebody that can replace him and do a decent job. And of course, during most of the games, you're looking for those guys to pinch hit or pinch run or come in to play defense, and that's what they're used for most. But you need a couple guys that can come in and play every day.
There's some of the notable injuries right now in the American League West, of course, with the Angels. Garrett Richards, that's huge. He's out for the year, as the count now is 3-2 on Perino. But there are some very challenging injuries for the clubs involved in that race. Runner will be on the move. That's Soto at first. 2 outs. There he goes. The pitch, a chopper towards second. Altuve on it. He'll make the play on to first. And a nice stretch by Singleton. That'll do it for the A's. They get a 2-out hit and leave him. 2-1 A's through 5.5. Back in Minute Maid Park, 2-1 the A's lead here in the second of 3. We're in the 6th inning with the Astros coming to plate. We've got a special happy birthday today to Alex Trevino and Morgan Ensberg, for that matter. Happy birthday, guys. Enjoy your night. Of course, Alex gets to work. Not sure what Morgan's doing.
He's a media star.
Yes, he is. And he's going to be on the Wall of Fame here at Minute Maid Park. He's been broadcasting now 19 years for the club. Nice going, Alex. Nice going, Morgan. Bottom of the 6th inning, Chris Carter leads off.
Both of those guys are in that range of years where you're not that excited about your birthday. You know, when you're a little kid, you always want to be a year older, and then when you get to be in your 80s or so, you get to be proud of your birthday again.
Yeah, Morgan's still okay, I think. I don't know. Is he? I guess
he's probably 40 or something like that.
Saw Morgan 2 or 3 weeks ago here at the ballpark. Still looks great. Looks like he should be raking some home runs.
I know. Biggio looked nice when he came in here. You know,
yeah.
It's people used to tell me that about 40 pounds ago, and I'd say, you know, appearances can be deceiving. I look like I'm athletic, but I can't hardly throw the ball 60 feet.
They appeal down to first. Yeah, through the years, I've had a lot of that kind of comment. People say, you look like you could still play. And I want to say play what?
Yeah.
You know, but
not golf.
Well, yeah, and that's right, too.
Used to be able to.
Well, you and I have given it a try or two. Down on strikes is Carter. Second time for Chris tonight. That's 4 strikeouts for Jason Hamill. And now our Mako, big hit of the ball game. And, of course, that would be from the 4th inning. Dexter Fowler leading off as he launched his 8th of the year to the seats in right. And that's the only run of the night for the Houston Astros. So Dexter bats with 1 out here in the 6th. Just got a text from Bill Dolly, former relief pitcher for the Astros. He said ball, apparently one of the foul balls just hit him. Not sure I'm buying that, but one of the fun teammates through the years as Dexter hits one in the air to left center field. Out number 2 here in the 6th inning.
Doggy, he had a great rookie year here. Made the All-Star team as a relief pitcher.
That was the Frank LaCourte, Frank DiPino years there with Bill Dolly, and I think Charlie Kerfeld was a part of that. Bill Dolly used to come out to the golf course with me and Mike Scott. He wouldn't play. He would just narrate the whole round.
Yeah, he had a great personality. He comes out to most of the charity golf tournaments now, though.
He's great.
He must have picked up a club or two in the meantime.
Used to call him Vavoom, if you remember the old cartoon with the little guy that had the enormous voice. Bill Dolly could narrate the golf round in that voice you could hear throughout the entire course. Bill Dolly opened his All-Star season in the minor leagues.
Well, he's another one of those guys where you could say, well, you look like you could still play. I think he's lost weight since his playing days.
Yeah, I think in the last 15 years, Doggy's been in physically a better looking condition than his playing days. Of course, when he was playing for pitchers, a lot of times being a little larger guy may not be a bad thing.
You certainly don't have to be in great shape in terms of aerobics.
Right.
You know, being not getting winded. If you're a relief pitcher, you don't do enough to really require that kind of conditioning.
You know, I came to the big leagues with the Indians, and Gaylord Perry was a part of that club, and boy, what a competitor and a talent he was. But he didn't work out with the rest of the guys and do that whole thing. He did his own thing, and it mostly consisted of leg work and pitching. And he pitched and pitched and pitched himself in shape, and that's what he utilized. I don't know what
worked out pretty well for him.
It sure did. Pitch is rammed into left center field. Coming on, Coco Crisp, and he'll slide into it and make a nice play. So Jason Castro's woes continue. That's 0 for 19 as Crisp robs him. A 1-2-3 6th. A's on top, 2-1.
Astros 2-1. As promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to #CSNFanPhoto for a chance to have your picture shown in an upcoming broadcast. You've got to like this picture at a pretty famous ballpark. Steve Bonham Palmer, way to rep your Astros jersey on the road. Guys, not a bad way to be proud of your team.
Yeah, good looking jersey on him too. Yeah. Get to show it off. Dallas Keuchel works into the 7th inning now. He's thrown 97 pitches, 60 of those strikes, and will try to get quickly through this 7th. He'll face the top of the order, Crisp, Gentry, and Donaldson. A's on top 2-1. One of those runs unearned against Keuchel. But it was his error back in the first inning that led to that run.
On a really tough play that could have been scored a hit.
First pitch in for a strike. Coco Crisp has walked and grounded out twice. Keuchel has continued to get ground ball after ground ball this evening. 13 ground ball outs through his 6 innings.
That routine again. Strike 1, change up, low and away. Strike 2, fastball, low and away.
A's continue to make Keuchel have to throw strikes.
At that time he was not throwing the sinkers. With that 190, he was given the 4-seam, see if he could chase it upstairs, and he didn't do it. I think he's been pretty much himself as a pitcher in this game. The only thing that he hasn't done is throw a lot of breaking balls, and his breaking ball might not be quite as good as it is in some of his starts.
Hasn't had that strikeout slider this evening that a lot of times he'll sweep in there. The Astros starting pitchers have posted a combined .342 ERA in the last 7 games, so they've been very good, as Mike Foltynewicz now gets loose in the Astros pen and right center along with Josh Fields.
There he is again. Castro moved inside, set up the target. He threw it right in the mitt, but apparently just a little inside.
Just not to be had from Mike Estabrook. Ground ball right side. Singleton with the play will feed on to Keuchel covering and able to just get the speedy Crisp.
That's a tough play for both the first baseman and the pitcher. But the first baseman's got that sideways throw trying to lead the pitcher, which isn't easy because it developed a little slowly. Keuchel had to catch the ball and step on the bag at the same time, and you can't have your eyes on both places at the same time.
Bit of a shift on that play. And so you see how it all sets up. Dallas Keuchel alertly over to the bag as quickly as possible.
And you could see that he looked to the ball to catch it at the end, just kind of figuring that he'd hit the bag. But you can't look at the ball and catch it and touch the bag, look at the bag at the same time.
First pitch swinging, lining one to center is Gentry. And a quick out for number 2 in the 7th inning. Back on that play with the pitcher covering at first. What is the most difficult aspect of that play for a pitcher?
The hardest thing, and it's not that hard, but obviously you got to get over there quickly with a fast runner. But if the first baseman lobs the ball, and a lot of first basemen will wait and then lob the ball so you can catch it right as you're stepping on the bag. And I kept saying, give me the ball. Once it's in my glove, then all I got to do is run through the bag.
Yeah.
But Singleton doesn't usually do that. He usually gets the ball and throws it straight to the pitcher, which makes it an easier play.
I used to always take the assumption the pitcher wanted the ball as early as possible.
As early as possible, right around the letters.
That enables.
And with something on it.
Yeah. Let it stick in the glove.
Yeah.
Brian Cook now gets loose for the Oakland A's in their pen in left center. And Dallas, after he gets 2 outs, falls behind on Josh Donaldson.
Still got something left. That one was 91.
105 pitches for Dallas.
I'll probably take him out after this inning. I'm not sure I would.
They're now 3-0. And I'm with you, and I go back quite often to your managing days and the way you, in my opinion, really helped Darryl Kyle and Mike Hampton and Shane Reynolds by telling them basically, look, I'm not taking you out at the point you're typically used to coming out of a ball game. I want you to stay in there longer and change your mindset.
Exactly. I thought he was going to be swinging 3-0 but Dallas made a pretty good pitch. I just said it only makes common sense. Do you want to win the game? Okay, stay in the game. If you come out of the game, you get a lot of no decisions. If you're ahead, you come out, you can win and you can't lose, but the bullpen might give it up for you. Would you rather give it up yourself or have somebody else do it?
Strike 2 is called.
I think you should come out when you're tired and you don't have good stuff or you've lost control. But if you're throwing the ball well, the arbitrary pitch count. 100 pitches in one game can be a labor. You can be toast if it's hot outside and you have control problems and you have men on base every inning. Other games you can throw 100 pitches and barely break a sweat.
Boy, there's that inside corner effort. Dallas Keuchel spun towards center field when he didn't get the call. And you can almost see and feel the frustration of lack of calls off that inside edge.
Yeah, I thought that was a strike.
So a 2-out walk. That'll bring up the cleanup man, Derek Norris. And it also brings out the pitching coach, Brent Strawn.
We were talking about superstitions last night, and Strami is certainly not superstitious about stepping on the line, because he stepped right on that chalk line. I would say that probably more than half of the players in the game won't step on the chalk line.
You know, you and I have been a part of many of these meetings on the mound. And most of the time, quite frankly, not much of any importance gets said. Did you ever have one of those moments of hilarity on the mound where somebody just had something, the perfect funny comment to make at the right time?
Not that I can remember.
No?
Did you?
Well, it's happened. I remember some good laughs out there, but I don't specifically remember what was said. But sometimes those were the best moments, when you kind of had that lighthearted moment.
I think what happened that time was Strom said, "I just want you to stop and start over." Because Dallas was, you could tell by his body language that he was upset with the call. So you're going to say, "I don't want him right back on the mound and throw this next pitch out of anger. So let's walk out here and make him stop for a minute and think about it, and then go get this next guy."
That's a good point. I remember Warren Spahn was a pitching coach on one of the first clubs I ever came to in the major leagues, and he was talking about one of the things that was said at the mound for him as Dallas misses, that he was basically trying to say, don't let this happen to you in your career. But he said he had the bases loaded, and somebody came out to the mound, I believe it was the pitching coach, and said, now don't give this guy a pitch he can hit a home run on right here. and Warren said it hadn't even occurred to him as a possibility. Right. And all of a sudden he threw that pitch, the guy hit a grand slam. And, you know, it was presented to him, and it kind of happened.
I don't know if we have time to tell this story, but there is a story to be told about Mike Piazza one time when he was red hot and we came into L.A. and our pitchers meeting and how to pitch to it. What we said, which you've heard a million times, is don't let this guy beat you. You'd rather walk him than give him a pitch to hit. So all we did in that series was walk him and get behind him and give up home runs. And we thought, you know, maybe there's a different way to say the same thing. So the next time, it's like, go after this guy with your best stuff on the corners, and if he happens to walk, it's okay.
Yeah.
So instead of don't make a mistake, it's go after him hard on the corner. So it's a positive thought instead of a negative thought.
And how did it play out?
Better.
Yeah. During his heyday, I'm sure he got a few people. Try to come in.
He could wait so long. You know, it seemed like a lot of times when he made contact, his bat was almost behind his body.
Yeah.
And he'd sling those balls over the fence the opposite direction. And you just shake your head. You know, nobody else was doing that.
Line shot into the seats, and they're waving for assistance. I'm one of the people who believes there should be a screen for these line drives that go to the seats on either side.
Over the dugout or out?
Over the dugout that just goes down the line, that takes the real line drive out of play for the fans. You hate to see this moment where
somebody's hurt down there. Yeah, at one time I was pitching to Dick Deeps and threw him a changeup with 2 strikes. He was way out in front. He couldn't hold on to his bat, and he let go of the bat and went over the third base dugout, and it hurt somebody in the stands behind the dugout, and they sued him. But then I had to go down and give a deposition that he didn't throw the bat into the stands in anger, which is what they said, because he said he got mad because he struck out and threw the bat into the stands. The throw was all part of the swing.
You mean a lawyer would actually stoop to that level?
Yeah, lots of them.
3-2 the count. That puts Donaldson on the move. So again, with 2 outs, the inning suddenly extends, and this is likely to be the end of the night for Dallas Keuchel.
Yeah, that's been a problem for him tonight, is just not being able to get the 3rd out after getting the first 2 quickly.
Well, we'll do it again at 3-2. We're in the 7th inning, and the pitch pop foul back to the seats. Well, you make the pitch you want to make, and a guy just gets a piece and fouls it off. Very frustrating game out there on the hill at times.
One of the things that made Pete Rose so tough. He was the best guy at fouling a ball out of play that I've ever seen. He had a weakness up and in, and the way he dealt with it was he just twisted his hand and let the ball hit the bat, and it would just loop over the third base dugout, and he'd get another pitch and hope that you wouldn't get it up and in, because he didn't really handle that pitch, but he didn't put it in play and make it out that much either.
Runner goes, ground ball right side. Altuve's there, and that'll do it for the A's in the 7th inning. Dallas Keuchel gets through 7 tonight. He's allowed 1 earned run, but he's trailing 2-1 after 6.5 innings of play.
Bobblehead courtesy of Houston Methodist on August 30th when the Astros take on the Rangers. Visit Astros.com for more details and come early to get your Reed and Nolan Ryan bobblehead. So I want to know, Larry and Nash, you guys think that's a pretty good rendition of those two?
Those are the Ryan twins, in my opinion. I don't know. Is that a good rendition? Nolan looks more like Colin McHugh for me right there.
He looks like he's about ready to go over, grab Reed and put him in a headlock.
Yeah, maybe so. Hey, keep in mind, Reed's the boss. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning, 2-1. A's lead it. Marwin Gonzalez leads it off. He's 1 for 2 on the night. So Dallas Keuchel, who is likely done at this point, 118 pitches tonight. That's the 2nd most he's thrown this year. Back on May 19th at LA against the Angels, as he went 8 2/3 innings. That was that very odd game when Mike Trout beat out an infield ground ball and extended the inning. Keuchel came out of the ball game. He threw 128 pitches in that one, the most he's thrown this year. So the 118, but second most.
He doesn't labor that much. He labored a little more tonight than he normally does, but I think generally he doesn't really wear himself out. Well, if you take a guy like Peacock, he's had it. He's max effort on every delivery.
Well, for Keuchel tonight, my opinion, with 2 outs is where he had some labor moments, just trying to get through an inning.
You can look it up. It's right there on the scorecard. That's what's happened.
Marwin Gonzalez, John Singleton, and Jake Marisnick here in the 7th. Jason Hamill, better than his typical outing this year.
A lot like the way he was pitching early in the year with the Cubs. But he hasn't pitched well really very often, maybe once or twice since the All-Star break.
Well, look, you pitched in the National League a long time. Chicago, in the early part of the season, cold weather was a great place to pitch.
Hard to hit the ball in the park.
Yeah. And it was cold and windy and wind blowing in, and just a very tough place. So,
but in the summer with the wind blowing out, it was also a good place to pitch for a different reason. One game I started there, I gave up four runs in the first inning and won the game 8-4.
High chopper, third base side. Can Marwin beat it? Not quite. A great play with a strong throw by Donaldson. And there's the lack of the wheels from Marwin Gonzalez.
Yeah, you'd have to say that most shortstops in the major leagues would beat that play.
Yeah, I didn't run well, but I'd like to take my chances on that ground ball.
I know, and it doesn't seem to hurt him too much defensively.
Nope.
But on the bases, it seems to come in play more often.
For Dallas Keuchel, back on the point we were making, as you can see that close play that does get Marwin. 7 2-out base runners against him tonight. Marwin's digging. There's no lack of effort there.
There's never a lack of effort when a hitter can smell an infield hit.
That's right. 1 out for John Singleton. And that's just 83 pitches for Jason Hamill. Been a very efficient night.
He's had good control in terms of throwing strikes and not getting behind in the count all the time, but his stuff is not overpowering. You keep thinking somebody's going to crash into one like Fowler did earlier, and it could be Singleton.
He certainly got the pop to do so. Make that 12 home runs on the year. Just that high pitch.
That's the pitch he's had a lot of trouble with. He's either got to learn to hit it or not swing at it.
All 3 runs in the series so far for the Astros have come via the home run. Of course, the 2 runs last night on the 2-run shot by Chris Carter.
That's how you can be second in the league in home runs and down at the bottom in runs scored.
Just inside. Well, I would hate to be on the, even on the catching side, trying to get strikes working the inside corner tonight. You have to continue to work in that direction.
No, you just have to work inside and try to get them out of the way, because you're not going to get the call inside.
And
you're going to get that one, though.
Well spotted pitch down and away. Caught looking Singleton. Second time he goes down on strikes tonight. That's 5 now for Hamill. 2 outs in the 7th.
Perfect follow-up to that last pitch.
Yeah, that's the way you move on from one pitch to the next.
Probably the difference between trying to hit in the major leagues as opposed to AAA. That sort of thing probably doesn't happen to you nearly as often.
Jake Marisnick, 0 for 2 with a strikeout.
The guys that do that to you that are in AAA usually are on their way up to the big leagues.
Don't stay down there a long time, yeah. And it can happen by accident, but it happens much more often on the big league level.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get the 1-0 type count, hitters count, and you get that type of pitch on the big league level. So you don't get that cave-in pitch down the middle nearly as often.
You usually get 3 or 4 pitches during the course of the game, and all your at-bats that you can really hit hard.
And that's exactly right. You will still get pitches to hit, which is why when you do, you can't afford to miss them on the big league level.
Absolutely. It's why a lot of times when you pitch a game, I pitched games where I said, boy, I couldn't pitch much better, but I gave up 4 or 5 runs. But they hit every single mistake.
Every
In
time.
other games, I'd come off the mound and say I was lucky. Most of the time when I threw a bad pitch, they'd take it or pop it up.
Well, I think you were rare if you actually said that. I can't tell you the number of times I was with a pitcher, and over the course of the game, I would think 15 times, boy, was he lucky to get by with that pitch. And at the end of the game, he'd say, I only made 1 mistake. Just not taking notice of what they had actually thrown. Brisnick down on strikes. Second time for him tonight. That's 6 strikeouts for Jason Hamill as he breezes through a 1-2-3 7th inning. 2-1 A's.
Our Twitter question tonight, Astros fans, you guys came out in force and strong because I received about 70 submissions for National Dog Day, and I can only choose 2 of them. So I promise I will retweet a few that I'm not showing on TV, but the ones on TV that are making it. Christina J. Huynh with Ewok Huynh. She says Ewok Huynh loves walks, hugs, and the Astros. Sandy Dra tweeted another dog picture. Here we go. One in a laundry basket with that cute look. Tweeting Cutie Pie Elsa, hashtag National Dog Day. Thank you again for tweeting me at Ho Chen CSN. Again, I'll retweet some of those that weren't shown on TV. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Howard. Love the shots of the dogs, by the way. Big time dog lover. The A's go to their bench. Josh Reddick will now come on and pinch hit for Johnny Gomes, who had a couple of hits in 3 at-bats, as Josh Fields hits the mound for Houston. So Dallas Keuchel winds up working 7 tonight. 5 hits allowed, 2 runs, 1 of them earned, 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. And again, 118 pitches tonight for Dallas.
There's a look at what Fields has done so far this year. It's been kind of a roller coaster ride for him. At times he's just about unhittable.
Finds the outside edge at 96.
But this is what you talk about when you complete a team, is when you have a guy as good as Reddick to come up and pinch hit for another guy that's a legitimate starter at the big league level.
So how would you assess the night of Dallas Keuchel tonight?
It was gritty. I didn't think he was at his best, but there's only 2 runs on the board and 5 hits and 2 runs in 7 innings. They'd take that anytime.
Gritty, that's a good word. And if you were the pitcher and you heard somebody say that of you,
it'd be a compliment.
Yeah.
You know, that's a really, I think there were games where I was more proud of keeping the runs down while I was getting hit hard all day than the games that were easy. In fact, there were 2 in a row. I can't remember exactly when, but I think the first one was a complete game, 14 hits and 2 runs. And the very next start was 11 hits and 1 run. But think of how many double plays you had to throw. How many you're just in trouble every inning.
8th inning, 2-1 A's on top. Ground ball on a big hop to Singleton. He'll go to the bag and out number 1.
Of course, there's a little luck involved in that too, and I think that's a part of what young pitchers have a problem with mentally, is thinking that it's harder than it really is. Now, you're going to get hit hard once in a while and knocked out of the game and score a bunch of runs and give up multiple home runs. That'll happen. But you got to keep it in your mind that the hitters usually make outs. And I think that you know, some of these games where you're in trouble all the time, if you have that attitude, and usually it's a veteran pitcher, you just figure some way you can get out of this.
Left-hand hitting Stephen Vogt now comes to the plate as a pinch hitter. This for Nate Fryman, who went 1 for 3 and made a couple of gems defensively at first. Yeah, you look at a great season like that that's being had by Jose Altuve this year. It's been close to that 340 mark much of the time. 333-ish right now. 66, 67% of the time he's making an out. It doesn't feel like that when you watch it.
It doesn't seem like, no.
And when you watch that guy on the other club that drives in runs, that's hitting about 290, and it feels like he's getting a hit 4 out of 5 times he comes to the plate. A lot of perspective in this game.
And a lot of failure, and everybody said that about baseball. You know, the odds are against you almost no matter which position you play or what you're doing. It's hard to be successful, but you know, it's the same way for the guys on the other team too. It's kind of relative, and I guess you just have to get enough experience to be a little philosophical about it.
Right-hander Luke Gregerson getting loose for the A's.
Personally, I would be happy to see him come in the game right now.
Well, the way things have gone with Jason Hamill, the Astros have not found a way to get after him.
I wonder if this guy just needs some throwing or whether he's actually warming up to come in the game. The pitch count is not that high on Hamill.
7 innings, 93 pitches. But he's allowed only 3 hits in a run. Home run by Dexter Fowler, the only scoring for Houston. Little jam shot. Looper into center field. Here comes Dexter. He'll make the play. 2 outs in the 8th. Time now for our AT&T Rewind. And we go back to our first pitch of the night. And it was near perfect, although not exactly a strike.
A slam dunk.
There's something about the release point that's not repeating well.
You should throw out the first pitch for the Rockets.
For the Rockets. I wonder how much she practiced for that.
I don't know. She looked like she was going to fire it, didn't she?
Well, you know that's going to hit some highlight reels tomorrow. It's already hit one tonight. Alberto Callaspo stands in. He's 0 for 3. I'd have to say that's maybe the shortest pitch I've ever seen made from the mound.
She got to it to the grass on the fly.
Not if she had been on the rubber. 1-1 the count. If she had been on the rubber, that might have dug a new landing hole right there.
It's like one of those times you get out on the golf course and you hit your drive and it doesn't make it past the ladies' tees.
Well, little looper down the left field side. Okay, so let's play rate of first pitch. This took place earlier in the year. 50 Cent. This is one of the best ones. Watch your lips over there. Yeah.
Typical left-hander.
Well, that one should have been better, right? It's what you call a knockdown pitch, although the hitter wouldn't have had to move. Remember back in the days when the cameramen used to line up?
Oh, they'd get on the field. They'd run up to the plate with the guy sliding in. They got some great shots.
Back in the days when the Bambino was jogging around.
Mincing around the bases with those little steps.
2-2 the count. You were talking about Pete Rose and that ability to foul pitches off, and I wonder if Pete, in honesty, would say, you know, I actually could do that intentionally, or if it just happened on that given pitch.
That's the way I hit.
Yeah. Exactly. And then you see some of these hitters that, for goodness sake, it feels like they just foul off and foul off and foul off pitches. I don't believe it ever happens by intention. I don't think a guy ever stands at the plate and says, I'm going to foul off a pitch or two right here. I think it's all in the effort to hit it in play.
There have been players like Luke Appling that seem to have a knack for that. Richie Ashburn was another one.
Richie Ashburn used to have that reputation. You're right. I've never spoken to a guy who said, you know what, I tried to foul off pitches. There were pitches where you'd flick at it and hope in the end you fouled it off, but that was about as far as I could go. Callaspo, while we talk about foul balls, continues to foul pitches off. It's 3-2. And another one of those 2 outs and nobody on scenarios.
I'll give you a little story about Richie Ashburn fouling balls off if we get time this inning. This might be the 3rd out right here.
We've got a wave going on, although the wave is kind of a ripple here in this pond. Here's a line drive, but right there is Marwin Gonzalez, a 1-2-3 8th inning for Josh Fields. Well, we've seen a lot of good pitching, and then we've seen this tonight, but it's 2-1. A's lead over the Astros. Local Honda dealer. Tonight we check out the performances last night of Asher Wojciechowski and Delano DeShields Jr. You can see DeShields there on that left side, 4 for 6 in his ball game, a couple of home runs. That's good news. 5 ribbies as he has himself a big night right toward the end of the season. And Asher Wojciechowski has not had the greatest season, but 7 1/3 last night of shutout baseball, 1 walk and 4 strikeouts, season high in innings. There's a couple of guys that might factor in the future for Houston. Defensively, changes for the Oakland A's. Greg Gentry is now in left field. It's Josh Reddick, who came on as a pinch hitter. He's in right field. At first base, another pinch hitter, Stephen Vogt, takes over defensively for Fryman. And Eric Sogard is now the second baseman, coming in relief of Callaspo. And one other change, that's on the mound for these Oakland A's, as they turn to Luke Gregerson, the right-hander, who was loosening in the previous half inning. The Astros will respond by sending left-hand hitting Mark Krause to the plate. He will start things batting for Gregorio Petit here in the 8th. The Oakland A's got a run back in the first. It was unearned. Dallas Keuchel making an error in that inning. Johnny Gomes had an RBI single. They got one more in the 4th. RBI by Nate Fryman to drive that run in. The Astros with their only run in the 4th inning, Dexter Fowler's home run, and that's been it offensively. 5 hits for the A's, 3 for Houston. A very well pitched ball game, and again Dallas Keuchel finds himself in a tough spot. Dallas can only lose or have nothing to do with it as the first pitch is grounded back to the mound by Mark Krause in out number 1. So 1 out, back to the top of the order. Robbie Grossman comes to the plate. Robbie on the night 0 for 3, 3 flyouts, 1 to each field. And now takes a strike. Well, the runs continue to be tough to get for the Astros.
It might be that way against this pitcher too. He's really having a good year.
Ground ball to the right side. Sogard comes on, takes it on a hop, and then throws low as Stephen Vogt can't come up with it. And this,
oh, they open the door just a little bit. And this, a lot of times, is the thing that a really good team will take care of. You keep making the plays. You don't beat yourself, and when the other team makes a mistake, you take advantage of it.
This mistake made by Stephen Vogt, who has just come in defensively at first.
And the other first baseman, 6 foot 8 inch
Bryman.
Yeah, Bryman. He did a great job around the bag.
So the Astros catch a break that puts Robbie Grossman aboard with 1 out for Jose Altuve, who has doubled in 3 at-bats.
Giving him a big hole to shoot through on the right side.
Jose trying to get this bat hot, and he gets drilled. Gregerson runs a fastball up and in. And Altuve,
he's laughing about it.
He just loves to play this game. And I don't know how you wind up smiling after that, but.
Well, one reason is that it didn't hit you in the head.
Yeah, that's true.
And it wasn't, it wasn't a fastball, so it probably didn't hurt that badly. The combination of, well, that didn't hurt me, I'm on base, and it didn't hit me in the head, and maybe you laughed a little bit.
There's some analysis.
I still remember that Oscar Gamble good night against Nolan Ryan. 0 for 4 and don't get hit in the head.
That's what we were with the Indians and riding in on the bus, the marquee outside of Anaheim Stadium there. It said tonight the pitching matchup with the Indians versus Angels, and of course it had Nolan Ryan going for the Angels, and Oscar, who never stopped talking, hollered out on the bus, "Good night tonight is 0 for 4 and don't get hit in the head." And
you were there.
Yeah, I was absolutely there for that one. Chris Carter stands in and takes inside. Yeah, that's maybe where that story has perpetuated from, but Oscar used to holler at different teammates all the time, and he had hollered that out at one of his teammates while riding in on the bus.
And there was also the Reggie Jackson quote about Nolan that I enjoyed.
1-0 the count.
He said, "I like to hit fastballs. Every hitter likes to hit fastballs. I like ice cream too, but that doesn't mean I want it stuffed down my throat by the gallon."
Chris Carter's 0 for 3. Struck out a couple of times. In the 3rd inning, he hit a rocket to left field.
A couple guys on base.
Terrific play by Johnny Gomes to rob him. Carter slams one high and deep to left. Watch it. Crawford boxes. See ya. 3-run bomb, Chris Carter. And the Astros have jumped on top here in the 8th inning. It's 4-1 Houston.
He strikes late again.
Number 32 on the year for Chris Carter.
77 RBIs now.
Well, take that. The Oakland A's make a defensive miscue as Stephen Vogt drops a throw, an easy throw at first base for what would have been a second out. Altuve gets hit by a pitch, and then comes Chris Carter.
Yeah, he didn't admire it too long, but I think he had a pretty good idea where it was going.
Well, now the Astros have put themselves in a great spot here in the 8th inning.
Do you ever think that sometimes when you're managing, and I know you spent a couple of years at independent end down in Florida State, that maybe you've outsmarted yourself?
Oh, I've done that many times.
You know, you got the new first baseman, the other guy probably wouldn't have made the error. You brought in a new pitcher when the guy's pitching a 3-hitter. You know, sometimes it's easy to make the moves that seem apparent and conventional.
Here's what
and
the book says.
Not to make them. And I really found that I tried a lot of times to not be influenced to make a move just because it was there to make.
Did you have those nights where you made a move, it backfired, and you went home and just found it very difficult to go to sleep? This pitch is hit in the air deep down the right field side. Dexter Fowler has been robbed by Reddick.
Not this time. That one wasn't quite far enough. It wasn't even really far enough to be robbed. I don't think that was leaving the ballpark.
I'm not sure. Reddick is a guy who's gone up and over the wall many times in his career. In fact, climbed some fences to make plays. Let's see how this winds up at the wall for Reddick. I'm not so sure that doesn't get out.
It might have.
Close at the
he made the play
line.
easily. It really wasn't that hard of a play for him.
Yeah, it's not the tallest of walls there in right field. Chad Qualls now loosening in the Astros pen as Castro hits one sharply, but handled by Sogard. They'll get the out here as Castro continues to have his struggles over his last 20. But the Astros in the 8th inning come up with one enormous swing. Home run number 32 by Chris Carter. It comes with a couple aboard, and they lead it as we go to the 9th inning.
Every Thursday, home game at Minute Maid Park this season is Dollar Dog Thursday. The next Dollar Dog Thursday is this Thursday, when the Astros take on the Rangers. For tickets, call 877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com. For the top of the ninth, we send it back upstairs.
Thanks a lot, Layla. This game has gotten a lot more fun here in the last half inning. The Astros jumping on top 4-2, and Chad Qualls now comes on to try to lock this one down here in the 9th.
Done a pretty good job since assuming the role of closer. He's really got an exceptional sinker-slider combination. He throws right over the top, and both of those pitches have a lot of downward movement. For him, the problem sometimes is control. But if he has good control, it's pretty tough to hit him.
Defensively, the Astros make a change also at third base as Matt Dominguez comes in. He's drawn in. And the first pitch of the inning in for a strike. Sam Fuld pinch hitting now to start the 9th. He's batting for Giovanni Soto. Andy Perino scheduled to follow. He's in the on-deck circle. And then back to the top with Coco Crisp. So 8-9-1 here for the Oakland A's in the ninth. And 0-2 the count. Ben Fold acquired mid-season by the A's, but he steps in and starts this Oakland A's batting style, taking pitches, falls behind 0-2, and fouls it back. Amazing, you'll get a guy from different organizations and he'll step in and adopt the same style of the ball club. Fold has played with the Cubs, the Rays, Minnesota, and now the Oakland A's. And just in his 30th game for Oakland. Little chopper left side. Matt Dominguez wide to his left and makes a very nice play to start the ninth.
Matt throws as well as any third baseman I've ever seen. He's obviously not the fleetest of foot, so his range is somewhat limited, but his hands are soft and he can throw from any angle. And almost every single throw hits the first baseman right in the chest.
You know, and it's amazing because Matt does not run well. And so he was full out on this play to his left.
I was actually almost hoping he wouldn't get it because I thought it would be an easier play for the shortstop.
So that's one out here in the ninth inning on a very tough play. The Astros, who took the lead here after trailing through 7 innings, when they've trailed through 7 over the course of the year, they are 3-61. So they've got a chance to add one on the win side there.
All part of becoming a better ball club.
Have a feeling if you looked at the best of clubs this year, trailing after 7, you're still going to see a very wide margin losing. But you're right.
The A's have something like 10 or 11 wins trailing after 7. They have been the #1 comeback team in the league.
So there you go. You go from the very best figure having 10, 11 wins. Yeah, it's tough to come back. That's right.
It's tough to come back. Most teams have good pitchers at the end of their bullpen.
Andy Perino at the plate.
The other thing that Dave Smith once told me that I thought really said a lot that I never had thought about it. He said, you know, if you pitch in the 9th inning, they have to swing. No, I don't have to throw that many strikes because it's the last inning. They can't sit there and wait for a walk like they do earlier in the game.
Smitty had that great forkball. It was really just a changeup. Didn't have great forkball action, but terrific arm speed. Here's a fly ball left center field and deep, but right there is Robbie Grossman. He'll haul it in. Out number 2 in the 9th inning. As now with the bases empty, Coco Crisp comes to the plate.
But I thought that was really, you know, for me, a guy on second, a guy leads off with a double or something, first base is open. That doesn't bother me a bit because I know that every hitter coming up is aggressive. He wants to drive that run in. And if you could just almost throw pitches that are almost strikes, guys will swing at them. Yeah. And the 9th inning is the same kind of thing.
Dave Smith certainly found a way to succeed for a long time for Houston.
Over 200 saves.
Yep. Well, Chad Qualls gets his first 2 men in the 9th inning. And now throws a strike on Coco Crisp.
He's been a little bit up in this game, but you know he's been ahead in the count and he hasn't had any trouble. There was a game on the road trip where he was doing nasty stuff, sinking and sliding, and guys were hitting him.
He's got that tremendous sinking running action on his fastball.
When it's down, and now it's just flat tonight, but it's a strike. A big part is being ahead in the count for him. Of course, that you could say that about almost every pitcher.
Yep. What a turnaround for the Astros with that 3 spot in the 8th inning. Chris Carter launching his 32nd on the year. A month and a half ago, 2 months ago, nobody would have guessed that Chris Carter would be having the numbers he's put up now. Strike on the outside.
Yeah. If anybody had guessed that and been willing to bet on it, they'd make a lot of money. But the odds would have been prohibitive.
Only Nelson Cruz and Jose Abreu with more home runs now in the American League.
And you know, during the first half of the year, Chris didn't play every day.
Well, he had so much struggles going on that you almost couldn't afford to put him in the lineup. And now the 1-2.
And last year, he played a lot of defense in left field and first base. But clearly, if you're going to have an elite team, he's probably going to be your DH. And he looks like he can really be a good DH. But he wasn't that good in the field no matter where you put him.
Well, in left field, certainly a big shortcoming. At first base, I thought he was reasonable. But right now, John Singleton's going to be your first baseman. So that leaves Carter as the DH. And he's been a very good one. And yes, you'd love to have Carter hitting for a much higher batting average. But the numbers now with the 77 ribbies and the 32 home runs, Chris Carter is doing his thing.
I'm not too worried about his batting average. He's been drawing a few walks, not great, but as he keeps hitting home runs, they're going to keep being more careful. And as he develops as a hitter, he'll draw even more walks.
2 home runs for the Astros tonight, give them 146 as a team.
Yanked that one. You could see that Castro was sitting on the outside corner. Balls to an inside of the inside corner. He has a violent delivery.
Yes.
That's why he's sometimes a little wild.
Problem now with the walk is it brings the tying run to the plate.
Yeah, that guy is only 2 hitters away.
Josh Donaldson being that guy. So we got a 3-2 count. Strike 3 called. Caught looking. Coco Crisp. And that'll do it. Chad Pauls comes on and gets the save. Chris Carter gets the big swing as he launched that 3-run homer. The Astros pick up a win 4-2 over the Oakland A's, evening the series at a game apiece, and that's the 6th win on the year now for the Astros over these Oakland A's. Now let's take another look at that home run by Chris Carter. We'll be right back with the Astros wrap up here this evening.